pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Do I have any public comment from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. It is with great sadness that I want to announce the passing of David Shea, a longtime Lunenburg resident who died Saturday, August 8th, after a courageous battle that he faced with fortitude and love of life. Dave lived in Lunenburg for a very long time. He was a passionate golfer, he was a wonderful father, and a committed husband. I had the opportunity to work with Dave for many years on the Board of Health and grew to admire his incredible sense of humor. He could make you laugh in an instant, even in the direst circumstance. His kindness, his compassion, and his true love of Lunenburg. He served on the Lunenburg Board of Health for over 30 years. He was a soccer coach in Lunenburg and a high school soccer referee for many years. He will be truly, truly missed.
Thanks, Paula. He was a great guy. A ready smile and a kind word always for everyone. Our condolences to his family.
Mr. Chair, not only do we lose Dave Shea this week, but we lost another member, long-time contributor to Lunenburg, in Cy Schnur, who passed away this week, I meant. Cy was a longtime resident of Lunenburg with his wife Barbara. He served in many different capacities, from the finance committee, many years on the school committee. I served with him personally on the 2 charter review committees. He was very involved with foreign exchange students and involved with that program for many, many years. He and his wife several years ago retired to a retirement community in Concord, and I received the news that he passed this past weekend. So my heart goes out to his family and his wife, and he, like Mr. Shea, was a really long-time contributor to Lunenburg and everything that made the community what it is today. So,
I would just like to add, Cy was also very instrumental in the Hickory Hills Landowners Association. He served on the board of directors for many, many years, and like Dave, he had a love of Lunenburg, and he also cared deeply about the lake, and he was a major contributor to the Hickory Hills community, and truly I don't know that the Hickory Hills community would be what it is without his contributions, and my heart goes out to his family.
Okay. We have 2 very important hearings this week. They both occur tomorrow evening. The first is the FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Committee meeting, which is reviewing the gas pipeline project, and that hearing will be held at the Lunenburg High School at 7 o'clock tomorrow. I plan to speak at that, and I think other members of the board as well. At the same time, unfortunately, there's another hearing, which is the DPU hearing, the Department of Public Utilities hearing, that is hearing Unitil's request for a rate increase, among other things. That is at the Fitchburg Memorial Middle School, also at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And I know that Mr. Ebasol will represent the board at that meeting as well. I encourage all citizens, if you're available, to make your voice heard at either or both of those meetings this week.
Mr. Chair, if I can just reiterate what I said at last week's meeting, which was that, both of these are not done deals, so it is important that the voice of the people of, in this case, Lunenburg and Townsend for the pipeline, and all the 4 towns, Lunenburg, Townsend, Ashby, and Fitchburg, for the rate increase, that as many people get to these. There will be another rate increase hearing from the DPU in Lunenburg because of the dual scheduling, and we have worked with the town manager has worked with our state legislators to make sure we can get one, because we can't be in 2 places at the same time. But they both are very important, and our voices collectively being heard will and can alter how those hearings go. So I encourage people to come out in one way or another. I mean, if you're okay with a pipeline going through your town and having natural gas go past and under conservation lands and on people's properties via eminent domain, then speak out for it. But I don't know of anybody I've spoken to that in Lunenburg that thinks it's for it, and we should make our voices heard so that the people in the federal government and the Regulatory Commission hear it. Thank you.
Do I have any public comment from the public? Okay. Our first order of business is an appointment. We have an appointment of the Council of the Aging Director. I'd like to just read from a memo that the town manager wrote to the Board of Selectmen. Last month, a screening committee was formed for the purpose of making a recommendation on a candidate or candidates for the position of Council on the Aging. The members of the screening commission included Pete Lincoln, the chair of the Council on Aging, Phyllis Luck, representing the Board of Selectmen, and the town manager. The position was advertised. There were several applicants. 4 candidates were selected for interview. They were interviewed by the screening committee, and the candidate that was recommended for appointment is Sue Doherty. Ms. Doherty has been an employee of the town of Lunenburg for 21 years, 19 of which were with the Council on Aging. She has extensive knowledge of current operations, but also has many ideas and suggestions for improvements. She has done a great job during her term as acting COA director. Additionally, Ms. Doherty has the full support of the Council on Aging and many, if not all, of the seniors who regularly attend the Council on Aging events and activities. I would entertain a motion. It is the Board of Selectmen's responsibility to make this appointment.
I would move that we appoint Sue Doherty at the recommendation of the town manager and the screening committee.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to say, being on the screening committee, we interviewed 4 very qualified candidates, and it was a tough decision. But Sue's experience and working knowledge of the Council on Aging and its mission and actions clearly gave her the edge. I look forward to working with her.
I would just like to add, I've worked with Sue dealing with aging parents, and she has been a wealth of knowledge, and it's very easy to see in her environment how much the elders appreciate her and what a great job she does. So I'm very, very happy that she's come forward for this position.
I would also like to acknowledge that in the audience, we have the 2 previous Council on Aging directors in support of her nomination and her appointment, so that means a lot, certainly to me, and the support she has in that arena.
1 minute, please. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations now. Congratulations, Sue.
Thank you very much.
The budget is due next week. There you go.
Great, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you for
Good luck.
coming.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
First item on the current business is a vote to release Chapter 61A option to purchase land at 150 and 164 White Street. As you note, at its meeting last week, the Conservation Commission voted against recommending that the town exercise that right, and that completes that. I see Mr. Foster at the podium.
So we have, before he goes, I mean, so we have on record, all of the people in town, all the town boards that have been asked to review it have not recommended we go forward with purchasing it and have see no value in us pursuing it, correct?
That is correct. Mr. Foster, please.
My name is Alan Foster. I live at 164 White Street, and I'm here to request that you vote to release the 11.13 acres of my land that is currently under Chapter 61.
I would make a motion to not exercise our right of first refusal on the 11 acres that we had an option on.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I understand you wanted these
not-
back. Here you go.
I think that the lady didn't want to file them. Don't blame her. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the testimony for the Unitil hearing. And And there is a draft statement for the public hearing at, with regard to the Fitchburg Gas and Electric or Unitil Light Company DPU hearing tomorrow evening. Has everybody had a chance to review that? Is there any comments?
I'm fine with the statement. One of the things I want to bring out to everybody's attention is that one of the things that Unitil is requesting in this is automatic rate increases in the future. They're looking for things to be automatically increased with this, which I don't even know how the DPU would entertain such a thing, but stranger things have happened. So again, without people vocally speaking against it or presenting written testimony against it, who knows what will happen. So, I mean, an automatic rate increase seems to go against the whole spirit of why they would have to go to the DPU to begin with. I mean, I'm against the whole thing because I don't think they do a great job. I don't even think they do an average job. But, you know, an automatic rate increase is really beyond the pale for me.
I agree, and I hope that the issue of the whole solar system comes up as part of the hearings. I know that it may not be the objective of the hearing, but I hope that conversation gets begun as part of this DPU hearing.
I think it is part of the rate increase. If I understand correctly, a component of the reasoning behind their requested rate increase is to improve and upgrade existing infrastructure to allow for solar installations. At least it's alluded to in their proposal. They've given no concrete facts that they will actually upgrade the system, but they've alluded to it as a reason behind their rate increase. And quite frankly, I find it appalling, given the amount of revenue that the company has seen and the profits that they've seen over the last couple of years, to not willingly upgrade their own infrastructure and try to do it at the expense of the ratepayers or a particular client, because they've suggested in the past that a particular client could upgrade the system, to me is unconscionable. And I certainly hope that it comes up, and if it doesn't, I will probably bring it up.
Fine, I don't believe we need a motion on this. So
Nope.
Just wanted an opportunity for anybody to contribute. And just on the similar topic, at the FERC hearing, I intend to read our proclamation that we agreed to on the 15th
great.
of February into the record as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Next item is special municipal employee designations for the Board of Registrars, the warden, deputy warden, election clerk, election inspector, and election deputy inspector. And this relates to the topic of making those positions special municipal employees to address the potential conflict of interest that we have discussed at previous meetings.
It's actually an actual conflict of interest for a town employee to work in two situations, so this would eliminate that actual conflict. I would move that we designate the registrars of voters, election wardens, election deputy wardens, election clerk, election supervisor, and election deputy inspectors. These are all election officials, but these are all separately designated positions, so anyone holding any of these positions would be considered a special municipal employee.
Second?
Okay. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. We can do that with one. Okay. Minutes, there are minutes from the 7/21 meeting. Warrants. I have a warrant for payroll for the public school of $1,937.66. Another one for the payrolls for $140.08. Accounts payable, $40,474.43. Another accounts payable for deductions, $410,141.60. And what is this? This is payroll as well.
Yep, payroll.
$496,430.79. Any action file issues? I have one. I currently serve as a member of the Cable Advisory Committee, and it's beginning to become a conflict. The Cable Advisory Committee does meet at the same time that the Building Reuse Committee meets, or at least in very, very close proximity, which requires that I limit the amount of time I spend with the Cable Advisory Committee and then run to the other. I will be able to attend the next Cable Advisory Committee meeting, which is scheduled for the 17th, so that I don't affect their quorum. But I would like to ask if anyone else on this board would be interested in joining the Cable Advisory Committee in my place, and if not, I would put a call out for talent bank forms to fill that position effective after the 17th meeting. Now, that's not on the agenda, but I thought I'd bring it up and we can see if anybody has an interest in it going forward.
I won't.
When do they meet?
Third Monday of each month.
And building reuse meets first and third Monday, so that's where the conflict comes in. Any other action file issues? Okay. Committee reports. Board of Health.
No report.
Building Reuse Committee did meet on the 7th, last Friday, and reviewed responses to the RFQ, request for qualifications. We did invite 2 respondents to come in at our next meeting, which will be on the 17th, to interview, and from those 2, we would select one to recommend to the Board of Selectmen as the person we authorized to do the work that was outlined in the RFQ. Cable Advisory Committee.
Meets Monday.
Capital Planning Committee, we are scheduled to begin work again and believe the first meeting will be held the first week or thereabouts in September. Conservation Commission.
The Conservation Commission met on the 5th, and they reviewed a number of items. It was a very lengthy meeting. It didn't get over till after 11. But I won't go through the basic hearings. There was several hearings on work that people wanted to do within the buffer zone. A lot of the meeting centered on the Shirley Reservoir proposal for herbicide and drawdown and their order of conditions. And there was a lot of discussion and dialogue about that. Dominic Marangelo from Aquatic Control Technology was present, as was Joanna Bellotta-Simeone. And they presented the proposal. The Conservation Commission had a lot of questions. There were some suggestions that moving forward, a lake management plan by Lake Shirley would be is going to be requested by the commission. They reviewed the proposal. Commissioners had a number of questions, and bottom line is they continued it until the 19th. And commissioners are being asked to circulate any questions that they have to Jan so she can distribute them and hopefully get those answers before the hearing. So that was the majority of the meeting. There were several individuals came forward with violations or enforcement orders, which were discussed. I'm not going to go into the details on all of them. They approved a new septic system at 40 Fire Road 12. And then again went through a growing list of violations and enforcements.
Finance Committee.
Meets Thursday.
Library Board of Trustees.
No report.
Mart Advisory.
I attended a meeting of the Finance Committee on 8/5. The year-to-date analysis as of June 30th shows a net surplus, which is their first one in years, so they were a happy group. The state is starting to define things that they need to do, like committees on executive compensation, and, you know, they're an auditing subcommittee, and the state is trying to tighten the requirements for them as well. And so they're looking for forming those committees as well. These matters were going to be brought up today, and I was unable to make that meeting.
One question, I know that we started getting information on the extension of the route. Can we get feedback on how many people actually use the buses
Yes.
during the regular route?
We can get a monthly report on that.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that.
And Sue Dory and I are going to go down to White Street and talk to the folks there, because sometimes they get confused about, is it the loop, or did we call for it? And
Right.
so we want to explain it so that so everyone really gets it, and hopefully will use it more.
MPO,
The meeting in August is canceled.
Planning Board.
Unfortunately, I didn't make the meeting last night. I don't know if anyone else has an update, but I did not attend the meeting.
I saw a portion of it on public access, but I can't report anything.
The only portion I watched was that, as in their work plan, they are reviewing the entire zoning bylaw, protected bylaw, to see what things they want to work on, and so they started doing some of that work last night.
PAC,
PAC met last night. They're working on gathering information required for the Cable Advisory Committee process, of which they're part of as well. And they're continuing looking at their policies and procedures, and are updating those on a monthly basis. There still is one opening on the Public Access Committee.
School Committee,
The summer asbestos abatement project at Turkey Hill was completed last Friday. And in a memo from the superintendent, she said something that was kind of disturbing, that the census data used to determine the Title I allocation for school districts reveals that in Lunenburg, the number of families at the poverty level increased from 131 to 312.
Wow.
Which is from 7% to like 17%. The system received an allocation of $350,478 for FY16, and last year the allocation was $123,000. So they are receiving more money, but it's a wow.
It really
And
is.
they are going to use that money to hire 2 reading specialists, and these reading specialists' salary and health benefits will come from this grant. And because of its Title I, they will only be able to work with children that are in the Title I program. And if there's extra money, they'll put it into tutoring. And, you know, I think it's a great idea, because reading is the #1 reason that kids get, you know, diagnosed with special education problems. So I think they're hitting exactly where they should be. There was a budget update. The Chapter 70 is at $5,834,483. The town budget projected $5,808,799. None of this additional revenue could be allocated to the schools without a special town meeting vote. The circuit breaker increased to fully funded, which represents a substantial increase. They haven't gotten the allocation yet, but she'll share some estimates on Thursday. And the kindergarten grant was restored to $34,000 by the legislature. They're going to meet Thursday, and there's a workshop on goal setting and strategic planning after the meeting. So it sounds like good news at the schools, money-wise.
With the exception of
Yeah, the
Well,
bad
number of families. I mean, I just want to make a comment, because this was brought to my attention from the school committee and the school department as well. You know, we shouldn't be lulled into a false sense that we live in a rural community, so these, you know, so Title I issues only come up in cities and some areas, and we have to really dispel those kind of stereotypes, because there are people in our own community, obviously, who are really hurting economically. And while we see stock markets soaring, and, you know, we hear about, you know, lots of money being poured into national elections, you know, there are people who work for a living and still work under the poverty line. And it really is something that really needs to be addressed, not only in Lunenburg, but certainly in the country, so.
School Building Committee,
Meets Thursday.
Sewer Commission.
Sewer Commission is meeting tonight. I know I've physically driven over. The sewer project has begun. I know they've been digging up the streets.
ZBA.
Oh, no,
Nope.
report.
Okay. Our upcoming schedule, we have a meeting on the 18th, which is next week. Then we begin in September on the 1st, and I remind you that the 8th is our workshop to go back and make the next steps on our goal-setting process. Is there any public comment from the public? Please.
Yes,
Would you
hi.
step to the
Sure.
podium and give us your name and address?
Good evening, my name is Sally Jarris, live in Lunenburg, and I did fill out one of these forms for the cultural committee, and I did receive an invitation to come here. It was going to be last Tuesday, but I've been in email communication with Elaine, I believe it might be, or, okay, great, thank you. And I had to work last week. I'm a voice teacher and arts person, so I'm always doing something. So she said that I could come here this evening. And I know I'm not on the agenda, but I'm here, and I brought resume and some information if you'd like to keep
What
that.
did you apply for? I didn't hear.
It is for, I checked off the Lunenburg Cultural
Oh, the
Council.
Cultural Council, okay.
Okay.
Could you just talk about why you'd like to be on the Cultural Council?
Sure, I mean, there wasn't much thought put into it. I believe in, obviously, I've been in the arts since I was age 10, and I'm an educator. I have a teaching license in performing arts. I taught at Fitchburg High School for a while, and I'm part of this community. I have a few friends that are from Lunenburg that are teachers, and I thought that this would be my way of getting involved with service. I do tremendously believe in service, and that we all should do our best to serve when possible. So it made sense for me to check off the arts, even though I also was interested in a couple of other areas, looking to be involved and to help people. And I love sharing my passion and my joy for the arts and anything related to that. And I wanted to thank you, Mr. Alonso, for what you said about the community.
Nope.
That, just to remind everyone that that's true. I know that I'm on tape, but it is true that even though we're living in the United States of America, and there's a lot of wealth, there are a lot of people who are struggling very much, and I am personally involved with some of those people, and I try to help them also. So thank you for adding that in there. I appreciate that on behalf of them.
Can I get your name one more time? We
Sure.
don't have that talent.
I see that. Yes, I do. Yes, Sally, Sally, and it's spelled it's Jarris. Was Jarris? So it's spelled J as in jam, H as in hello, R as in Richard, S as in Sam, and S as in Sam.
Thank you. We're always looking for people who are willing to volunteer
Oh,
and help
cool.
the town.
Great.
What I really would like, however, to have us have an opportunity to see a talent bank form and a resume and
Absolutely.
and develop some questions that can be helpful.
Absolutely.
We also would love somebody from the groups you're interested in to be able to get in touch with you as well. So what I'd love to do is collect that and then ask you, we'll get in touch and have you come back as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. I'm not assuming that,
Right.
I'm the one, but I just wanted you to know how much I'm interested in
We don't
it.
turn a lot of people away.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Sally, just one suggestion.
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity, you mentioned that you're interested in a number of areas, obviously the Cultural Council being your first choice.
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to attend any of those meetings or to investigate further some of the areas you might be interested in?
Not in Lunenburg, but in
Okay.
other places, yes.
Okay. Just one suggestion, I mean, I think it would be helpful if you were able to attend a cultural
Oh, absolutely,
council
I should be.
meeting or one of the other boards that you're interested, just to get a feel for what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and to get an understanding and introduce yourself to the individuals on that committee. I think that would be
Great.
helpful.
And where would I get that information of when they have their meetings?
If it's not on our website, you can either call the town clerk's office or I don't know the board
I
of
would-
selectmen. I would
I would
check with
ask
the town
Elaine-
clerk.
I'm going to ask
I'll ask
Colleen to get
Colleen.
back
I will.
in touch
Yeah.
I know
with
the
you.
Cultural Council doesn't have a regular schedule, like, they don't meet every
Right.
month.
It's
or
the
something.
arts.
Right.
Like-
So, well, there's certain
And
times when they meet, and so I think getting in touch with Elaine, who's the chair of that, would be the best way to contact that group.
I will do that, thank you.
What are the other groups that you're interested in, by the way?
Oh, actually, I checked off, let's see, I know it was to do with Housing Partnership Committee.
Okay.
I'm a paralegal also, outside of the arts I do, and when I have a passion for something, probably you're the same way, I just have to have the information.
I think the Cultural Council technically only meets once a year,
Oh, wow.
so that'd be an easy committee to be on.
Yes, it would be.
But I know that they may have subcommittees that do work in between.
Right, maybe we could have, if I were on it, maybe we could have more regular meetings also.
We'll have somebody from the town reach out to you, though.
Thank you very much, thank you
Thanks
for
so
your
much for coming
time.
forward.
Have a
Thank you for
nice
coming
day.
forward.
You too.
And that's how it works, folks. That's how you get to volunteer.
Do you have any public comment from the board?
Just wanted to remind everyone that pancake breakfast is tomorrow morning.
And I'll see everybody at the FERC meeting tomorrow.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.